Wine lovers are anywhere, but there are so many different...
It's like art jamming, you need some more inspiration, and then you have to release your tension in your brain and become relaxed. So I think they are a perfect match. I love to drink wines because they really have different tastes and aftertaste when you appreciate different grapes and how they grow the grapes and then how they make the wine.
My name is Jennifer. So I recently joined our company and we're colleagues. So it was around a year ago. We had finished at an event and then Sam was like, would you like to have a drink? And then we went out for a drink. She's a really nice companion to drink with and with other friends as well. And she's like a big sister for me. So like just being around with her and drinking just makes it a very enjoyable experience.
Hi, this is Denise and this is Connie. And we have been friends for like over 10 years. They are my lovely drinking buddies. And we are in a new shop right in Central, which is for cart noodles. And Connie opened this shop. We hang out here for drinking afternoons, especially Saturday and Sunday afternoons. We have fish balls, beef balls, and veggies, and spicy noodles too. What for this afternoon is, especially for us, is the Chablis. We love white wine, and this is from France. Connie, so why you opened this shop in Central, but this is cart noodles and not very expensive, and for like mass public?
I think since I'm very little, I love noodles and fish ball and meatballs, and because I'm from the origin of Chouchou. And then I couldn't take any MSG at all, so I rather to prefer have my own noodle shop and having my guests to come in and enjoy the thing without MSG.
For me, wine it relates to friendship, my friends. Actually, I can drink only with friends and our family. I won't drink at home. I won't open a bottle for myself. And so it really interrelated with friendship and connections for me.
I think because lots of my friends love drinking and I want to be more close to them, I rather to drink cocktail because I can't handle any alcohol at all. So then I think that makes us more closer to each other.
Okay, toast for the cart noodles. Cheers. Good business.
Crystal loves traveling, and she chose to store the memory of her travels in the forms of wine. So she goes to different countries, finding the wine she loves the most, and then she just buys them and collects them.
My name is Crystal. I'm a co-founder of a new logistic tech venture. It was founded like a year and a half ago, and now we're in a co-working space. I think it really depends. I tend to get things done, want to get things done quickly. So I think some of the colleagues may think I am workaholic, but I also think that it's really wanting to get things out of the way. But it's also about, you work hard, you play hard, you want to reward yourself after a day of hard work. So I do try to keep things separate. So when I work, I try to get things out. And then when I play or when I have my downtime, I try to not to think about work. I think to some extent, wine is a motivation for me to work harder, partly because wine as a hobby, I wouldn't call it a very affordable hobby. Like you definitely need to have some savings or have some disposable income to afford wine as a hobby. But I think working harder is also like a reward. Sometimes you work late or you finish a project. There will be times when you want to celebrate, and that's a time when you want to maybe pop open a champagne, or maybe you want to share a very nice bottle of wine with friends or colleagues. Well, I do have a lot of colleagues who enjoy drinking as well. I think in particular, a few of my engineers, they enjoy drinking. In our working environment, people do enjoy drinking, and I think that's part of the common language as well, because people do have hobbies that you resonate with, and you tend to bond with them more. And I think wine and spirit is definitely one of it. So this is my cellar. Literally collection that I have been aggregating since 2008, so it's been a bit over 10 years. I started collecting wines in very small scale, maybe a few bottles here, a few bottles there. I started storing them in my home, and very quickly I realized I ran out of space, because at home I only have a very small wine fridge and can hold only maybe 2 cases of wines. Once you start collecting, you start to know there are other wines out there, and then you buy more and more. So that's the time when I will start looking into, okay, whether there are options out there, and maybe rentals like this where they can store my wines. Because one, I think it's good to put the wines in a temperature controlled place and humidity controlled as well, so that they have the best environment, so that they can lay down and they can age without me worrying about the wines will go bad. Because in Hong Kong, sometimes the weather is really humid and it's sometimes really hot, so you don't know whether the wines, if you put out in a temperature, in room temperature, will become vinegar. So I started looking into smaller wine lockers, maybe holding a few cases up to 12 cases. Like here, I think the smallest wine lockers you can get will help you hold maybe 3 or 4 cases of wine, which is about 48 bottles. These are mostly wines that I would bring when I travel. I like to travel to different wine countries because it's not only a good chance to get away from the city, it's also good to understand the weather, the terroir, and really understanding how the winemakers make the wine. So there are a few interesting wines here. I think, well, this one, which is my latest collection, because I just got back from New Zealand a year ago. I was in Martinborough, and this is from Kusuda-san. I think in New Zealand, these are all boutique wineries, and it's sometimes a bit hard to get to. For me, I drove literally 2.5 hours into Martinborough, try to hunt Mr. Kusuda-san down. He was down with flu, but he was nice enough to see me and then actually explain to me a lot of work he put in and a lot of the winemaking techniques that he has. I'm very grateful that he actually offered me a bottle of 2015. I think back then it's not even released yet. He was about to ship that to Berry Brothers, but he gave me a bottle, so this is very memorable. I think some of the other more not so common wine regions that I will go to include this one. Basically, this is Gruner Veltliner. I think maybe not a lot of people would collect these type of wines, but I do. I always try to find different wine countries and different places where they have exciting wines and different grapes. So I was in Vienna, and then I was in Prague, and then down to Slovakia. So those are pretty exciting wine regions. They're making very, very quality wines, and a lot of new grapes, and some of them are real new hybrid grapes as well. I would love to spend time understanding a new place, a new region, new wine, and meet winemakers. I started looking into wines when I was fresh out of college. My first job was in Boston. I was a software engineer back then. I would go to wine dinners in Boston, and they would talk about all these jargons, basically about vertical tasting, you have the Rhone Valley, Chateauneuf de Pape, and then you have Bordeaux dinner. These are all English language, yet we went there and have no idea what they're talking about. It's like Martian language to us. So I think that's a time when I realized there's like an entire world out there about wine, and it's just a lot of knowledge. That's the time when I start looking online. I will go to wine.com, I will go to, Wine for Dummies, like Wine 101, and then, their winemaking techniques. I didn't know that. So that's the time when I start looking into winemaking. I started reading, I even started studying for it, on top of, obviously, drinking a lot with friends and exploring different types of wine. I think a lot of wine drinkers will prefer drinking with friends. There's always a saying that people who drink wine are more generous, because once you open a bottle of wine, you need to finish it, and a lot of people will want to share with other friends who love wine as well, because there's so many different wines out there. You don't want to just drink one and drink the entire bottle for the rest of the night. You want to have a variety, and that's why it's always good to have people around so that you can share the experience, you can share your wine tasting notes, and it just makes drinking more fun. I used to have wine dinners a lot more often before I started my new venture. It really depends on seasonality, right? Times when it's festive season like Christmas or even like Thanksgiving, then we do drink more often, maybe like every other week. In terms of spending, it really depends. I think I try to keep within the range of no more than 5,000 a bottle, because that would be about my upper limit. But it also depends on what vintage, what winemaker, and then the origin, because obviously some wines are more expensive, maybe from Bordeaux or Burgundy, but then there are also a lot of good finds, value for money from New Zealand or from Napa or from Australia or from Chile or South Africa. So those can be in the ranges of maybe a couple hundred.
About Cellar, I would say there's mainly two groups, I would say. You obviously have the locals, and most of them would be the relatively more affluent, I would say more middle class, that's like the investment bankers, lawyers type, who are basically looking for a space to cellar the extra wines that they don't keep at home. And obviously some of our clients are actually also overseas wine collectors. So obviously most people see Hong Kong as a wine hub these days, so it's easy for them to coordinate all the shipments to Hong Kong and to have them stored temporarily in our cellar before they retrieve it and send it to somewhere else within Asia. And other than that, the second group would be expats based in Hong Kong. Some who have previously based in Hong Kong, when they leave Hong Kong, they want to keep the wines here. It's just easier, more convenient. And there's also a group of expatriates, and they basically are basing in Hong Kong right now. And they don't want to buy a wine fridge because they don't know how long they'll be staying in our city. And they look to us as a convenient source of storing the wines as well. The idea of opening a cellar and basically creating a space for wine lovers to store the wines in a professional, monitored way, this idea comes about pretty much like 5 years ago when we realized that there is real need for such a service, basically. I mean, a lot of people see wine cellaring as like an expensive hobby. Yes, it is. I wouldn't dispute that, but at the same time, it's also a hobby that is increasingly picked up by a lot of residents in Hong Kong. It probably has something to do with the fact that wine tax was abolished in 2008, and it makes it easier for people to actually buy a little bit more, collect, and therefore needing to store these wines. So when we start running the cellar, we start by really creating all the spaces for people to store their wines, and then we go into the business of running a food and wine outlet, and also organizing wine dinners and tasting now and then. So the whole extension sexually aligns very well with our belief that when it comes to wine, it is a good idea to actually share another bottle of wine with you.
No, and it's a Riesling.
Exactly, and means something special to both of us.
Yeah.
I mean, this is always a special vineyard to me. I actually have been there myself. I mean, Vino Veritas is, and that beautiful sundial in the middle of the vineyard, that purest lady flavors in it, and it's my favorite wine around the year, actually, not just, for summer.
I'm still a great fan, of Riesling, as I've always loved acidity and, the type of, the flavor and the palate. But I guess, back then, 2009, maybe a bit too early, and Riesling kind of felt out of fashion for a while. So it was a tough 3 years, but I get to drink all my inventory, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's the good thing about wine, isn't it? I mean, we deal with wine, we trade wines, and if we can't trade them, we can always drink them. Yeah, a lot of people, when it comes to wine, they always pop the question. They always ask me, especially probably because I run a cellar, and they will say, "Oh, so what wine should I buy? What should I cellar? What will increase in value eventually, over the years?" It's quite a trick question, because honestly, I want to tell them if I actually do know, I will buy for myself, and I'll probably keep it from you, because then I can sell it to you when it increases in value anyway. But what I reckon is that, when it comes to buying wines, it's probably good to buy what you like, because, like I said, worst come to worst, you can drink it if it doesn't really increase in value as you expected. And second of all, I think it's a passion in wine that really drives what makes sense in the world of wines.
And I think sometimes I drink wine not really because of whether it will appreciate in value. It's really about the people that you drink with. People who share the bottle have the same appreciation, they like the bottle, and with different tasting notes, different findings, I find that more enjoyable than having a really, really pricey bottle in front of myself and I have to drink it alone.
No, I mean, I'm looking forward to having more fun with you here at our cellar. Yep. And until then, in Vino Veritas and in Vino Veritas.
Thomas loves wine. He likes expensive wine, but also enjoys cheap wines. He loves them so much, he writes reviews for all the wine in the supermarket. And suddenly, he became a KOL.
This is Thomas Chen. Everybody call me T-Da, in the network. So actually, I'm working in this group since 1995. So that means I have working in this group for 23 years. And right now, my job is general manager of the Inner Pro wine shop. 23 years ago, when I go back to Taiwan, my job is manager of engineering. So actually, I work more than, I think, 14 hours per day. So it's a long time. And I need a hobby, My friend brought me to a Beaujolais party. So I get in touch of the wine. And when I go back, I'm very curious about the wine. So I went to the bookstore to buy some wine books. After I read the book, I realized there are more and more wines. I purchase more books and I visit more and more wine shops. That is the procedure that I get in touch of the wine. These are some small notebook. I just write down my tasting note. You can see the 1998, right? This is from the note I wrote down in 1998. For example, 1999, September 9th, I taste the DRC Montrachet, 1993, 1994, 1995. And also 1991 DRC Hitchwood, I still can remember. But you cannot imagine how much I cost, only a little, because I'm an engineer, right? I'm not a rich guy, but I can afford. But right now I cannot. The wine is getting more and more expensive. This is my original company. Do the business of provide satellite communication service. Now you can see the antenna. We launch the video and audio signal to the 400,000 kilometer away to the satellite, then broadcast to all over the world. Hi, this is our tasting room. Actually, since the September of last year, we invite the professional guys every month together here, and we'll do the blind tasting, and we'll choose a major subject. For example, all are Burgundy Concours, or all from Burgundy Gervais Chambertin. So to do the blind tasting, and we can discuss, we can and to broadcast, and we can answer the Q&A live. Many years ago, I married and moved out. You know, my father told my mother he's very worried about his son. he said, oh, every night he's drunk with wine. What can we do? Until 10 years ago, some magazine to interview me and write an article. Oh, this is a professional guy, the wine guy in Taiwan. Then my father read that, so he told my mother, oh, it's okay, it's okay. Actually, I'm not a real collector, of wine. Because I collect every wine not for sale, but for myself. That is, I am going to drink every bottle I collect myself. Right now, I estimate I have collected about more than 5,000 bottles, maybe 8,000, I don't remember. Actually, I purchase wine from every resources, including auction, but most from the big supermarket. Because the wine in the supermarket, there's nobody to introduce them, and most of the wine you cannot get the information. So I have to say, some professional guy just like me, I can find some bottles. Everybody will not to buy it, and I can find it. This should be the most expensive wine I collect. This is 1996 Homani County. The feeling is very expensive. Oh, of course delicious, but too expensive. Okay. And this bottle is Latache. You can affordable. Still need maybe $3,000 per bottle, but I think you can taste wines every 10 years, maybe. This is terrific. The most impressed wine should be this wine. Okay, you cannot see the label very clear, right? It is 1947 vintage. That is Chateau Cheval Blanc. This wine is very famous because if you want to choose 10 bottles of the century, this should be one of them. The Robert Parker and the Wine Spectator will give this wine 100 points. So this is my most different collect, and I never test it. So I'm still waiting for some tempo, some time to open it. Maybe with my wife, or maybe just take it to McDonald's to match with a burger. I am not sure. Okay. In these 20-something years, I can see the obvious change about the consumer market, because the young men, they are more and more young men. They are willing to read. They want to get information of the wine because of the cell phone, because of the internet. It is very easy to get information. 20 years ago, to realize a wine is very, very difficult. You have to read book, only book. You know, it is difficult, right? You like to read book? I don't think so. Yeah. So, but right now, you just take out your cell phone and take a Photoshop to the bottle. You can get the information. About the future of the wine market, not only in Taiwan, but also in the world, the wine should be more easy to access, and the price should be get down and more and more reasonable, and it will become a drink, something you can enjoyable. So if you ask me the Taiwan market of wine, I will tell you Taiwan will follow the Hong Kong market. If you watch the Hong Kong market, maybe 2 or 3 years later, Taiwan market will go to that stage.
Paul enjoys life, and his idea is that life is more joyful with wine. So he started to buy and collect them, and he knows that this is an investment for him. But after all, he still thinks that the biggest satisfaction from wine is from drinking.
So I could spend most of my time enjoying what I'm doing. Now, up till 2008, when the wine tax was lifted by the Hong Kong government, all of a sudden, Hong Kong has become one of the most popular cities in the world for wine enjoyment and investment. So I started to get very serious in the wine collection and the investment since then. And of course, I have been in love with wine ever since. I love wine very much because it offers unlimited tasting experience with such a huge range of varieties that other alcohol could not offer. Also because wine is very good in pairing with food, not like the hot liquor. It could go very well with different cuisines, and also it could be a complement to our fine dining, so I like it. So far I have collected about 7,000 bottles. At the beginning, I look at it as an investment. So for the younger wines, I would buy from the wine merchant. And for the older wines, you have to pretty much get it from auctions. So my buying has 2 stages. First stage, I was very heavily involved with young vintages. And later on, as my experience grew, I start to fall in love with all these very old and very hard to find vintages. So for that part, I pretty much have to source it from different auctions throughout the world. And I would do it from Paris, Amsterdam, London, New York. These are places with a lot of great collectors. and they have a lot of great wines sitting out there. It's just a matter of finding it. I like to make it more like a mini version of my main cellar, and variety is the key because I want to share my wines with my friends. This section here is all the Italians, and of course I got some old bottles back to 1937. Now this section, it's Bordeaux, basically the left bank. Now you see the Latour, Aubryon, Lafite, La Mission, Aubryon, and Margaux. This section is the right bank. You see the Petrus, and also you see the Saint-Emilion, all the wine, different domains in Saint-Emilion. And for this matter, and for that, here's a 1923 Latour and 1913 Latour. So I really enjoy the old wine. Like I said before, I really enjoy the mythical aspect of these very old vintages. Now, we are in the Burgundy section here. Okay, my favorite is always, Burgundy, and this is Henri Jayer, as I mentioned before. I love to try his 1985 Richebourg, but I don't have a chance yet. This is the 1990 legendary wine, Cros Parenteau, made by Jayer. And I want to show you this bottle. Of course, it's a rebottle, but look at the case. Okay, Bouchard. And this is the condition. Okay. I choose here to be my main cellar for two criteria. First, I need a proximity. I need to find a cellar in Kowloon that would be closer and more convenient from my office. The second reason is because I want to find a cellar with the most privacy. And as far as the cellar is concerned, I would like it to be very quiet, so when I come in, I could stay 100% focused on my wines. And so therefore, I do not prefer a cellar that has too many auxiliary services, because that would mean more people, it's more crowded with more traffic. So once I'm in the cellar, I'd rather be alone, and I feel more secure that way. I'm taking up 5 storage rooms here in this cellar, and the quantity I have stored here is roughly 6,000 bottles. One room, it takes up all the Burgundy that I've collected. And one room is taking up all the Bordeaux, the very, very old Bordeaux that I've been collecting. For the third room, it's basically anything else but French. For the other 2 rooms, I'm basically keeping the younger wine and the younger vintage, because I do not foresee myself drinking this wine for some time. And so initially, I also bought some of these wines for investment. As I said earlier, wine collection is a long-term investment. So before I can drink it, before I can use it, I must well just keep it stored nicely, and until the time that I could use it. Well, here is a bottle that I like very much. It's Madeira by Vino Veritas, and the vintage is 1795. Of course, it's because over 200 years old. To me, it's precious. And also, I like Madeira very much. I think it's underrated to some extent, because it's not a very popular item for collectors. but it drinks beautifully, and you can keep for a long, long time. And you couldn't find this easily. These are the wines with all these old vintages that you can hardly find in the market. We finished to the very last drop of the bottle, and I was so happy. But then I get a lesson from that experience. Perhaps wine sharing is about passion, not just the bottle itself. So with the passion, the wine can get as good as it gets. But without the passion, it may be just a grape juice. So that was my experience.
So Paul, what are your thoughts on pairing wine and food?
It's interesting. Recently I start to believe red wine could go well with sushi. Now, I have tried it, of course. The reason I say that because for some reason, certain sushi, certain fillet are more fatty. So they do the roasting over the sushi. Now with that little fat and the charcoal burn or that roasting, it goes very well with red wine. So that is one of my discovery lately.
Oh, interesting. So Paul, tell me, do you regard drinking wine as a hobby or a lifestyle?
Such as we have so many wine tasting parties and even master classes that you could go and learn more about wine, and all these fabulous gala dinner that we all went to, and the most important, the wine tour that we could do to all these legendary chateau, domain, and visit the producers, and how good can it get? So to me, it's definitely both. And to me, also, wine journey is a very romantic journey, and it's a very fine lifestyle.
Anytime that you're enjoying a glass of wine, it's usually a good social occasion, and it's very much a process of learning. It's a journey, as you said, and it's enjoying it with good friends and like-minded people, and you meet many new friends and many new business partners too, through the sharing of wine. You've got children, you can buy for them if they enjoy wine, and I know many people that do that have a wine collection, and actually they have their children love it, and so they pass it on to their children, and that's happened many times. I think what happens is people drink less and therefore focus on the quality rather than the quantity.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like to drink quality.
Exactly. Cheers to
quality.
quality.
So regardless of price.
Cheers to quality.
Cheers to quality. Thank you so much for coming and for your visits.
Yeah.
Really appreciate it.
Thanks for the invitation.